That might be why everyone can't see everyone. Okay, go live. Alright, that's better. Hello and welcome to the third LiveG Lookahead on Tuesday the 15th of November 2022 at 5pm GMT. Hope you're well after the 2-week break that we've had since our last LiveG Lookahead. It was my birthday yesterday as well, which was nice, so it kind of coincides quite nicely. This meeting is being hosted on the LiveG Lookahead channel on our Discord server, and is additionally being streamed onto our YouTube channel, where a recording of the meeting will also be available after it is finished. Live subtitles are available by watching the stream via YouTube channel, and as usual, questions and input can be given at any time, and we aim to address all the questions and input at the end of the meeting if we don't address them during the discussion. We ask that if you're going to contribute, you must respect the LiveG contributors community rules, which can be found under the rules channel on Discord. And finally, as always, by suggesting ideas, you agree to make those ideas available under LiveG open source license. So, as usual, we'll introduce ourselves. I think Seb is on the stream right now, so not sure if he's going to, if his mic is working this time, but let's see.
Hello.
Hello. I can hear you. How are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm Seb. I've done 2 pull requests on the LiveG Adapt-UI GitHub. And yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. Good to see you,
Pretty
Seb. And as I said, we got Ezekiel or Ezekiel. I can never remember how to pronounce it. He's just watching the stream. And there's also me as well. Of course, we're quite a small group this time. And I'm sure quite a lot of people know me already. I am the founder and lead developer of LiveG. Okay, so I suppose we should look at our agenda for today. So, first item on our agenda is our path to releasing our very first products. So this is going to be an overview of our planned product line and a talk about what devices we should release first and how we should release them to the public. We'll also be discussing about how we should plan our OS feature and security updates as well. And then after that, we'll be discussing about building a decentralized online storage service. So with our projects being largely web-based, it would be great to kind of enhance their functionality by providing access to them through the internet. We'll be talking about the ways we could let users potentially access files from other devices over the web too, so that could be quite interesting. And finally, it's quite a big one, we'll also be planning our 8th birthday for LiveG on the 30th. So there's going to be a discussion about what we should do to celebrate 8 years of LiveG since its beginnings in 2014. We also plan to review the past year of LiveG's projects and development, and of course show the highlights of how far we've come. Okay, so I suppose without any further ado, we'll move on to our first point. So, as we've kind of discussed quite a lot before, we talked about the LiveG Prism. It's always been quite a hit in the past, and also briefly, like in the last meeting, I believe Tram Crazy brought up the LiveG Proton, which, for those who don't know what the LiveG Proton is, it's our plans to build a desktop computer. So it's basically similar to the idea for LiveG Prism, which is our smartphone that's currently in development, but the LiveG Proton would be, a desktop computer that people could use and run LiveG OS on. So there's by no means any physical build of LiveG Proton yet. It's only just something that we planned. I think it'd be quite a cool thing. So in terms of releasing our first products to the public, I think personally that LiveG Proton, the desktop computer, should come first as opposed to LiveG Prism, because it'd be much easier to manufacture in terms of components. It's when you look at smartphones, they've got quite a lot of things going on inside of them, which are all tightly packed, whereas on desktop computers, that is not so much the case. I know there's quite a few components that are important, but it's a simpler kind of design that we could kind of get started with, especially considering our current funding here at LiveG. Obviously we're not made of money, so building the Proton first before the Prism would potentially be a good idea. I mean, Seb, what do you think about that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it would be a very good idea.
Yeah,
not got much to add, to be honest.
Fair. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's kind of not easy to manufacture a smartphone, whereas desktop computers are kind of, yeah, much easier to build. So that might be kind of one of our first projects, released to the public. Before we do that though, I did write here that LiveG OS should probably meet a stable kind of feature complete release standard, because it's no good kind of releasing a physical product and then selling that if it can't do anything really. If we were to sell, I don't know, LiveG Proton or Prism rather, in its current state, with the current state of LiveG OS, it probably wouldn't be a good idea in terms of what you can do. I mean, I know that Tram Crazy last time alluded to kind of us being at the cutting edge, but if you're going to sell something, I mean, you can't really sell empty promises, so we should at least have some sort of kind of release of LiveG OS which is functional and works well for people before we go on to selling physical products. I think that's kind of quite a sound kind of thing. Now we should probably, in terms of LiveG OS, right, should probably have kind of a, some sort of release schedule, possibly of, multiple months at a time or every month. When you look at Chromium or Chrome, that maybe you could even have like different release schedules depending on if we're publishing kind of feature updates or security updates to LiveG OS. So it could be kind of, that kind of schedule. So that could be quite good in terms of, ensuring that we keep kind of, a path in front of us, and basically just, a good roadmap. And I have also written here that each release cycle should be centered potentially around a kind of certain focus. You see this with other software, for example, notably Minecraft, with their things like Update Aquatic. So we could potentially with LiveG OS could have, the accessibility update or the localization update, but still kind of allow for minor unrelated features and fixes to be implemented. So basically how we could make that work potentially is, once we've made one release, and then plan ahead as to what our next release should be about, and what features we should, ideally focus on and work on before, releasing them. So that could be also, a good idea. I'm sure the others would agree. Unfortunately, Tram Crazy isn't here right now to comment on kind of security update intervals, but I'm sure he can comment on it soon. That's about it for that agenda point, really. So I suppose moving on to our second point, which is mainly kind of a long-term point. It's not something we'd immediately do right away, I suspect, but could be quite a good one. So as I just mentioned at the start of this meeting, our projects are kind of web-based in that they run progressive web apps and things. When you look at like things like the Chromebook, they're also mainly quite web-based in terms of the apps that you run on them, and they go in quite hand in hand with stuff like Google Drive and all the Google account services. So we could potentially do the same. Obviously not immediately right away, because we need a functional OS to be able to do stuff before we take it online, really. but having a similar kind of feature set could potentially enhance our experience. And of course, we'll make it entirely kind of optional as to whether users want to use this service. So it's not going to be like Chromebook, where you have to use like a Google account in order to use your Chromebook. I mean, I know Seb, you've kind of used Chromebooks and stuff before, with Chromium OS. I think it's what is it? It's can't remember the name of it, but it's now Chrome OS Flex, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's really nice to have to use a specific service if I didn't want to. So that'd be really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Do what you want with it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're all about, really, isn't it? Just giving the user the choice, as opposed to Google's approach of forcing the user to do stuff, really. So, I think it'd be quite a good kind of service. I think, we could potentially have even a federated kind of identity service. So when you look at Mastodon, which is that Twitter clone, everyone can run their own kind of servers. So considering how open source we are with what we do, we could potentially let users kind of host their own servers where they could, host their account system and stuff. So people can essentially remix LiveG and all the platforms which support it as well, which could be good. Now, one thing I thought was interesting was how we could do some sort of cloud file storage system. Now, in our current state, we don't have much money. That's quite a common theme. So it'd be unlikely that we'd be able to kind of serve some sort of reliable file storage system to users where we keep a hold of their data. And there's also been kind of a lot of people who've thought things like Google Drive and OneDrive are a bit annoying in that other people own your files, basically. They get to read all your files at whim, so it's a bit annoying for some people, whereas we want to strive to remove that annoyance. So what I was potentially thinking is maybe we could have some sort of way to kind of let people have their own drives that run at home, so storage drives at home, which could then be accessed from anywhere on the internet, kind of in a similar way to, in terms of, the usability, similar to Google Drive and OneDrive, but potentially one where you actually own your data and you are in charge of keeping it running and all that. I believe there's actually similar services out there, like Synology. They make drives which you can access elsewhere on the internet. So it'd be similar to that. And basically the idea would be that if a device runs LiveG, you could then set it up to be accessible from anywhere else on the internet, basically, which could be quite cool. I mean, how much do you think you guys would probably use it?
Yeah, I'll definitely use it.
Yeah, I know in the past, like, I've kind of relied on Google Drive and things, so it could be quite good. So yeah. Thanks for your thoughts.
Right.
Yeah. Now, I was thinking about this earlier, of course. So I was looking at some domain names. I've been on a bit of a shopping spree, impulse purchases. So we now own a few domain names, namely liveg.me and liveg.net. So potentially you could use liveg.me as kind of, user kind of services. So when you think about, you got google.com and then you got gmail.com, where gmail.com lets people sign up, for example, for emails under that domain name. Basically, google.com would be a bit like liveg.tech, where we'd be using it as kind of staff storage and that kind of stuff, whereas liveg.me would be a bit like gmail.com. It's a bit hard to follow, I know. But basically liveg.me would be kind of a domain name used for kind of general public stuff, where people can sign up and potentially use that domain. Maybe we could even have some kind of subdomain service or something, that people can use. That'd be cool. And as I mentioned, LiveG.net is another domain I purchased earlier. Surprisingly, they're both quite cheap considering their length. And we could potentially use that as kind of a short link to connecting to remote devices as kind of our thoughts similar to kind of Google Drive and stuff. That'd be pretty cool. But enough talk about that. I know that's been quite a long subject. It's kind of gone over a bit. Let's move on to the third one, which is quite cool. I mean, previous years for LiveG's birthday. Now, LiveG's birthday is on November the 30th, so we've got about 2 weeks until it's officially LiveG's birthday. But in the past, we haven't really done much for kind of birthday celebrations, really. I know we released kind of like a flyer for LiveG's 5th birthday, but that was just kind of informational about what we've kind of done in the past. So I was thinking we could probably dedicate kind of a web page on the LiveG website, just listing some of, I don't know, our potential kind of things that we've done for the past year. So it does what it says on the tin, basically, just a website which lets people know what's been happening in LiveG since 1 year ago. It would help people to kind of know how far we've come, basically. And we could potentially kind of do maybe a long form kind of YouTube video, which would be like a more kind of detailed insight of what we've done over the past year. I think that could be good. But really, we'd need to start early to meet the deadline. So do you think we should probably kind of put a hold on kind of LiveG OS development and all that until kind of birthday related things are completed, or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends how much effort the birthday thing
Yeah.
is. If we can still do the development,
Yeah,
we might as
yeah,
well.
definitely.
But yeah,
Like
I don't know.
it might just take, I don't know, 1 or 2 days to build out. It might take even longer, but
Yeah,
I suppose if
yeah.
we prioritize it, then that'd be good, I suppose.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's quite a short topic, actually. That's about it in terms of what I wanted to say for that one. Again, it was quite a small meeting because few people couldn't turn up, unfortunately, this time. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. So yeah, that is it in terms of our agenda. If you have any questions or input, then you're welcome to leave them in the Lookahead channel on Discord, or via the live chat feature of YouTube, of course. And yeah, that concludes today's episode of LiveG Lookahead. Our next meeting is scheduled on Tuesday the 22nd of November 2022 at 5 PM GMT, so that's in a week's time. Don't forget you can rewatch this meeting via the recording on our YouTube channel. That'll be made available shortly. Thanks to Ezekiel for pointing out the fact that the stream wasn't running until until we started. Phew, that was a good catch. Yeah, thanks. But yeah, until then, thank you for attending, have a good evening, and see you next week.